And I think we're live. I just wait for the numbers to go up on YouTube here. And yes, we are live. I'm here with my new friend Eric. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing, David. Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. It's my pleasure. Nice to meet you. And I may be a little bit dopey today because it's Lent. I'm not really eating as much and had a busy week at work. The podcast is just a part-time hobby. So hopefully I'm not too much of a dimwit to keep up with you. But before we get started on the conversational part, I'd just like you to give a biographical background, and I'm gonna have a lot of follow-up questions too about the biographical stuff. But just sort of the faith journey or the spiritual journey or whatever it is in your case. And I know you told me before going live that you were raised Catholic. So just fill in the gaps, sort of the twists and the turns, and how you ended up where you are today, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to answer anything. So nice to meet you all. I'm Eric Mchugh, born and raised Los Angeles, 30 years old. I was raised Catholic, so my mom's Filipino, my dad's American. So from the Filipino side, obviously there's a really heavy Catholic influence in the sense like my grandma went to church every Sunday. She participated. So from a young age, we were going to church every Sunday. I went to Catholic school, so I went to a Catholic preschool, St. James, and elementary school, St. John Fisher, in my local area. Both are fantastic parishes in the sense like honestly, growing up Catholic, even though like I was a kid, I didn't really know what I was doing, but the community itself, I think, for no other reason, was a very positive benefit in my life. Then honestly, I kind of fell off the wagon, not like fall off the wagon, but I went to public high school, then went to college, so I didn't go as much. I would still go like every month or so, and I would obviously go like during major holidays, but it was more so a casual churchgoer, as it would seem. So I got confirmed. I did all of that stuff, but recently this looped back into. So like eventually, I kind of walked away from God, unfortunately. Not like walked away, but it just wasn't the main forefront of my life going forward, like during college and that stuff. But as I've started my own spiritual entrepreneurship journey, I realized that I've God. God is always there. I think God is everything. God has my back and God has my best interests at heart. And that's really just helped me with my career path. Because imagine this, you're trying to build two businesses, but you understand that God has a plan. You understand he's always rooting for your favor. It makes it so much easier to keep that positive mindset. So I wouldn't consider myself, I have high respect for the Catholic faith. I think it's a great community. I would consider myself more of a spiritual person, is like in the sense like I believe Jesus existed, but I also don't knock any other religions at all because I think everyone is equal. I think they're entitled to believe what they want, and if you do the research, they all kind of preach similar, I guess, similar teachings in the sense that like there's some differences, but like overall, it's just do good for the world. I think of the way I look at people, and this has helped. This has been baked into the companies I've built. So like, there's a strong spiritual base for both companies, which is why they'll do well. So the way I think of it, and I think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, and in consciousness level. So my overall goal is to raise my own level of consciousness. So I look at that as a scale. So there's 0 to 1,000. Below 200, like let's say you're saying you're feeling a different emotion, like you're feeling sad, angry, hatred. You're just saying I'm vibrating at a certain frequency. Shame is the lowest. Anger, pride, like those fear, they're below 200. So if you're below 200, that's where you're taking energy from people. But once you cross the threshold and above 200, that's when you're giving energy. So like peace, love, joy, those operate in the 500s. Like Mother Teresa, Gandhi, they'd be in the 700s. Inanimate objects, they vibrate at a frequency too. So the Bible, I believe, was at like 800, and Jesus himself, he was at a full thousand. So he's top of the scale there. So yeah, in terms of consciousness, the way I view it is, I mean, obviously God is literally every offset. I don't know, but if I had to guess, I would say he's everything. Like I'm a part of God, you're a part of God, this chair is a part of God, the sky, the birds, the thing. He's the source of everything. So the way I look at it is like me, you, my dog. If God's the source, just the easiest thing would be to look at him as a sun, and we're all individual rays of light from the creator. So in the sense we are the same, yet we're also individual. So me hating on you is stupid because it's me hating on myself. Whereas it's just, yeah, I don't know. kind of rambling.
Very good. No, not not a problem. I want you to talk, so that's good. The more you talk, the less I have to talk. But when it comes to the family, you talked about the parents, the mothers. Is Filipina for a female and Filipino for a male? Is that typical or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Um, and your dad's just straight up American. Is that what you said?
I mean, his
Is it?
second generation, but yeah, he's
Oh,
born and
oh,
raised in
he's second generation. What are his roots? Did you mention?
Irish.
Oh, okay. Maybe you mentioned that. I didn't hear it. But yeah, you didn't mention maybe the siblings. How many do you have?
I have two younger brothers.
Oh, okay, okay. And how old are you?
I'm 30, one's 28, and one's 24.
Ah, okay. You look a bit younger than
Oh,
30, but I'm just getting
well,
older, so everyone looks younger all the time.
well, thank you. That's good to
What
go.
about the spiritual journey of your parents and your siblings? Did they stay on track with Catholicism, or did they go astray, or find other things, the New Age or monism, Eastern religions? What
So
about your journey?
my mom's been good at my mom's been good with it, so she still goes to church. She's still involved, mainly due to the influence of my grandmother. My dad kind of tailed off because he went mainly because of my mom. And the two younger brothers, they're more on the science space, so they're still good people, but they don't exactly attend church or anything.
Oh, okay, they're not even spiritual or whatever, as you would say.
No, they're not.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, they're still young, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But what about the love life? I always ask my guests, male or female, about are you interested in marriage and family and stuff like that?
Yeah, super interested. I think leaving a family is one of the most beautiful things you could do. For some people, I mean, not everyone can or wants to, but
Yeah.
for me personally, I would love to.
And so you're open to it, but you're not like actively pursuing trying to find a woman.
I believe when the timing is right, God will present me with a woman.
Okay, okay. I just want to briefly give a shout out to my friends Phil Gonzalez. He's in the live chat, and my friend Christopher Rice, aka Risto. Hello to you, boys. And they may have some questions for you. I won't be able to field them all because I can't really multitask, but I might field one or two questions depending on how I'm feeling. But yeah, so we've sort of done the biographical thing, and now we can dive into what you're up to today, sort of on a practical level. You said you had two businesses. I don't know if they're both like getting 50% of your energy or your time, or is one dominating, or what's the story there?
No, they're mostly equal. So I kind of do whatever I feel like and whatever I feel like whatever task is most more of the time. You have to be adaptable when running two businesses. So whatever is the most important thing at the time we'll do. It's roughly around 50-50. I mean, it varies week by week. But the first business is ShopX, and that's a Web3 e-commerce platform. So my overall goal in life is to live a nice, peaceful life. I found that to be more difficult with the money system I view as being corrupt, which led me to Bitcoin as a potential solution. We'll see if it actually works out. So ShopX is a way for me to scale people into that ecosystem. So what it is, it's a app for an e-commerce brand to download, interact within the Web3 space, and launch NFT collections with e-commerce benefits. So if Nike were to use our products and services, imagine this, they launch one pass for the millions of customers, a million people purchase that NFT or pass, whatever you want to call it, because they want the e-commerce utility of the pass. That's a million new people in the crypto ecosystem, which I view as a positive thing for the world. So that's the story behind that company. My second company is Data Inc. The overall goal of that is to spread as much love as possible. So what it is, it's the first ever AI-powered matchmaking service. The problems it solves are AI. I think social media and dating apps have kind of they haven't been good for the dating market, and I view relationships as one of the most important things for human happiness. So what Dotting does is it auto generates profiles for you based on your digital footprint and gives you matches based on their digital footprint. So for example, I could Ashley, Kimberly, Jane. Jane seems interesting. Oh, tell me more about Jane. She connected her Facebook, so we know she's the youngest. You're the oldest. Our pattern recognition software says that goes well. She connected her LinkedIn. Oh, we both went to Ford University. Oh, on YouTube, so you both follow the same music artist. Great. Oh, on Instagram, she tags herself at her local church. Oh, great. You're also Catholic, so maybe you two would match based on that. Oh, we both connected your Spotify. Did you know you both listen to one obscure artist on Spotify? Did you know they have they have a concert coming up? Would you like me to suggest a date with Jane? The AI will then suggest a date with Jane. She would get a notification from you. Since you've linked your social media profiles, so you don't have to create a profile, it's all based on your digital footprint. She could see your social media profile's latest activities, so she can get a better judge of who you are. She can see if there's like mutual friends, like so just so she feels safe, because honestly that's pretty important too. If she clicks accept, then you guys go on the date. Let's say you fall in love, you get married, and then from there the app can function as a dating app butler, where it's like, okay, you guys have 2 kids, you haven't been out in 3 months. The place you had your third date is having a half off sale on ice cream. You can go there. Or by the way, hey David, your wife's birthday is coming up. You may not want to miss this. Oh, she just added this item on her Pinterest board. It might be a good gift. So it can support the whole thing. And long term, I view it as like dating apps markets. It's easy to penetrate because honestly, dating app market's terrible. But so it's an easy sell for me. It's like, are you tired of Tinder? Try this. But long term, it can be a community building app as well, since we'll have that data. So imagine I'm not trying to find a date, but let's say for this example, I'm trying to find 5 local people who believe in Catholicism in my local area. It's like, can you find these 5 people who believe in Catholicism? Maybe they train Muay Thai, who would like to grab some tacos, and they can find that. It can help build the community that way. And we're building out a feature too for the dating thing, where it's like, it's a tap phone thing, where it's like, let's imagine you're like at a social event and you see a girl you like, you both have dating. You'll be able to tap your phones, and then like it will give you a match based on that. But that can scale up too. Like imagine you're at church, you're like, oh, you seem like an interesting person. Let's tap our phones and see what we have in common and see if we can build a relationship off of that. So it'll be able to do a bunch of things. It's still in its infancy, but I'm excited to see what positive that can add.
Wow. So how much of this is homegrown AI and how much of it is just taking advantage of stuff that's already out there?
So we're taking, I would say 50-50. So we're taking advantage of like ChatGPT 3.5, but as soon as we get funding, we want to build our own proprietary technology, because in the case like GPT fails, and we want to be able to survive that. Because like what woke us up to that reason was like, like when they were going through their troubles with Sam Altman, and that was a turbulent time for that company. It's like we don't exactly want to be dependent on that. So but once we get funded, we could just build our own solution.
Pretty cool. So do you have experience with programming and all that side of it?
I don't. I let the devs do the thing. So I have experience in pretty much every field except for hardcore deving. So I can run project manage, I can do sales, I can do marketing, I can do user growth. I'm really good at QA. So my main talent is I can communicate well between sales teams and devs teams, which is important when you're taking user feedback and relaying it to the dev team. So yeah.
How many paid employees do you have right now on both companies together?
So let's go to ShopX first. So ShopX, there's 5 paid employees on staff, but with that one specifically, we like to outsource as much work as we can to different dev studios. So for example, with our WooCommerce integration, we hired a dev studio to build it out, and we had our engineer take project lead role. So we like to do that as much as possible, just because that specific company is better for lean work. Data-ing, let's see, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 7. So we have CEO, I'm CGO. The other 2 founders are CPO and CTO, so they're on the dev side. We have 2 people running our social medias and 2 people doing marketing and PR.
Cool. So yeah, it sounds exciting. I like the I don't date 'cause I'm happily married 28 years now, but
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, but it's definitely interesting. If it doesn't work in real life, it would definitely work as a sci-fi novel. Like, so that's your fallback, your plan B. You know what I mean?
Yeah, can be.
Because I'm old school. I was born in 70, so I'm 53, gonna be 54 on the 18th. And so I'm a little bit like, I like technology, but I'm a little bit wary of I'm wary of dating apps, much less AI driven dating apps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no. Dating apps, I don't think their intention is good. Like the 3 main problems dating apps solve is, the first problem is the top 5% of users get access to 100% of the app. So it's like a problem of abundance. Like if you're one of the top 5%, you just get access to everyone. And the bottom 95, they become invisible. So a lot of times, like if you're in the bottom, you don't even see people and you're talking about, it's just a waste of time. The second problem is, let's be real, dating apps they're physically based. Like on a dating app, you just look at the picture. Are they good looking? Yes or no? Swipe left, swipe right. And the third and most interesting problem is I think it's incentive. So think about it logically. If Tinder were to match a happy couple, what happens to the happy couple?
Ah.
They get off the app, and then
Ah.
Tinder loses a paying customer, which isn't good for
Ah.
Tinder
Ah.
shareholders. So they rely on something called churn marketing, which is keeping someone on the Ferris wheel. So if you have friends or you kind of will, but if you know people on the dating app, why like it's like they always download the app, delete the app, download the app again, delete the app. That's baked into the design. So what separates dating is we put people in the position to succeed. So let's say in our example, when they matched, they said specifically, if you remember, it was like, oh, you got this concert coming up, you should go there. And they suggested they'd for that. But let's say it didn't do that, but it still matched because you had that same music interest. The interest can align organically. So that could come of an organic conversation. You have a chance to authentically connect with them. And the longer you're on the app, the more likely you are to match. So for example, it could be matched with me. Like I say no to everyone who's like the same as me. It's like, okay, this person's not into this. Let me try something different. Let me try something the opposite. Yes, it gets smarter, it gets craftier, and it gets better at matching. So the longer I'm on the app, the more user, because AI, at its core is just pattern recognition at scale. I mean, it does a bunch of stuff, but like if I describe it simply, that's what it is. So like the more users we get, the more I'm on the app, the more data we get, the better it gets at matching everyone.
I gotta give a shout out to my other good friend who joined, Nicola Krisick. He's in the live chat too. So far, everyone's Catholic, as far as I know. There's Omaha Mommy. I'm not sure who that is, but welcome. But yeah, so it's pretty exciting stuff. I mean, so you're actively promoting this. People are using it. You're getting feedback. You're building your database and everything. That's been going on for how long?
So we launched. So we're in the waitlist phase right now. So we launched on
Oh,
February 14th because it's Valentine's Day. The
uh-huh.
waitlist is around 300, so it's not on the website. It's just a private link. The
Okay,
reason we need the waitlist to go live first is because we need actual live data to train the AI to get
I
it
see.
started.
I see.
So we're gearing up for our actual full launch, like just pushing it everywhere. We're going to start in LA, get all our ducks in a row, and just we're going to start transitioning people from. I don't like that word. We're going to start moving people over from the waitlist to the main app. So like if you're on the waitlist now, you connected your socials, you're getting karma points. We're going to slowly move people from the main app just so our first users are going to be close people who know us, just so we can work out the kinks, because there's always going to be kinks regardless. But after that, we're just going to open the masses. We're set to launch our ambassador. So we're set to launch our ambassador program in UCLA and USC just because we're targeting the LA area. And we have an influencer campaign lined up. So we're just going to work with like an influencer house or an influencer manager. Let's say they manage like 10 influencers. They all produce some sort of similar content around the same time. That pushes into the algorithm.
And so I didn't catch it if you said a hard date for your hard launch. When is that?
We're trying to move as fast as possible. It should be in a month or two, but
Okay.
tech happens.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So what about another thing with internet culture? I'm no expert, but it seems like there are a lot of trolls and a lot of catfish. People like to play around, you know. So I understand that it's fun. It's fun to just shit post or whatever the word is. That's a lot of fun. So are you worried about that, or is that eliminated by the AI because it's real organic data from their footprint?
So in terms for shit posting is pretty fun online, to be honest. But so we mitigate that. So one thing a decision we made as a company was we don't ever want to ban a user, because I was banned on Hinge for no reason. I don't know why, but like you just never want to auto ban a user and use AI to do that. So we'll use AI to flag potential catfishes, and then have a
Uh,
manual person look at that.
okay.
uh, the fact that we have multiple social media links to create the profile makes it more anti-bot. It makes it more bot-proof than any other app out there. Because think about it, like it's easy to create a Tinder profile and just buy on random pictures on the internet, but it's harder to create like 4 different social media accounts to create a bot on our platform, which is honestly just not even worth it. So that itself is a baked-in incentivized defense. And we also have karma points. I don't know. You're on Reddit. Have you been on Reddit?
No.
Okay, Reddit's a website, so they have a system of karma where good karma, bad karma. So if you get good karma on an app, like you behave well, like you're nice, polite, you're just a pleasant person to be around, you don't ghost, you're respectful, you'll gain good karma points. And if you behave poorly, like you ghost, you're rude, you send in inappropriate pictures, you obviously lose karma points. So the higher the karma points, the better matches you'll get with other higher karma users.
Oh, okay. And what are the minimum requirements in terms of like, what if someone only has Facebook and they don't have some of the more modern apps? Can they still join your service?
Yeah, no, they can still join. So the thing about our service is the more sites you link, the better the AI will get to know you and the better it'll be able
Oh,
to match you. But
mm.
let's say hypothetically you just have Facebook, it'll most likely just match you with only other people with Facebook because
Ah.
you're probably similar. So it'll kind of mix and match socials because you're gonna most likely link the socials you're most comfortable with. So if someone matches like six socials, they're clearly into social media or they really want to find a match, they'll link you with someone who's also active on social media versus just Facebook.
What's the minimum and maximum age range?
18, no max.
No max. Oh,
Yeah, I
so
mean
you
everyone
have
gets
some
around up.
elderly. You have some elderly folk on there.
Not quite, honestly. The age we're targeting is 25 to 35.
That's mostly what you have now, anyway.
Yeah, so most of them are 20, like young professionals who are over the dating apps. I would say like 60% are around like 25 to 30, and a couple younger and a couple older.
I've never been on a dating app, and I've never been on a date. So it's like I met my wife in a bar at university, and we just got married within 3 months. So it's really old school. What's stopping? And you're not going to like to even consider this question, but what's stopping people from getting off their device and going into real life, go to a bar, meet a woman? Like, what's stopping the kids today from doing that?
Oh, nothing. I wish more people would. That's exactly. To be honest,
Okay.
that's how I like
Oh,
to
okay.
meet.
Okay.
That's how I like to meet. All
Okay.
my good dates result from me
Uh,
doing a cold approach or just saying hello and introducing myself. And all my bad dates are from dating apps. So it's like, I think people, if they want, should be able, like, obviously, it's just another way for them to meet people. Unfortunately, now the thing that's stopping them is only themselves. People don't want to go out and face that rejection. Most people are used to they're trained themselves to be behind the app, behind a computer screen because of the buffers for rejection. Like, you can
uh,
swipe right on Tinder and all that's not rejection. It's harder to approach a girl because she could say no, and that
mm,
sucks. So that's why people just mindlessly swipe. So it's just user behavior and patterns that are preventing people. But I think more people should go make approaches in real life. But I don't. I see more people going online, to be honest with you,
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah,
near
yeah, yeah.
future.
Yeah. So, I'm just curious. I ask a lot of my guests this question, so don't think that I'm putting you on the spot like you're some sort of expert on human nature. But what do you think the differences are about, between men and women? I believe, as a Catholic, as a Christian, and as a monotheist, we believe that there are real differences, significant differences, and men and women are equal in dignity, but they're different and complementary in many ways. But a lot of people today in the New Age, they don't believe that. They think this is just a skin suit that our soul puts on, and it's just theater. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely disagree with that. I think men and women are. I think they're equal in the eyes of God, or like they're equal, but we're better at different things. They're better. Like I am a man, I am better at things than a woman, and there are things that a woman is better than me. Yeah. So like I think I'm better in terms of physicality. I'm just better than most women. Life is life. It is what it is. But most women are more supportive. They're more nurturing. They're more kind. They're more empathetic. Whereas I'm more type A. I'm more go getter. We're more seeking more like calm down. Like women are more social. I'm more independent. Like women make better mothers. God. I can't believe this is like not even common knowledge. But men make better fathers. Women make better mothers.
Amen, brother. So
Yeah.
that Catholic education's really coming through for you here. This is good. This is good to hear.
Catholic education or common sense or whatever you want to call it.
Same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah. So I don't want you to bash on your generation, but are you Gen Z or what generation are you?
Millennial.
Oh, millennial. Oh, that is a bad reputation. That's supposed to be the worst one. No offense, but is that
Yeah,
what do you
none
think about
take.
your generation?
Most of them are lost.
I'm Gen X. What do you guys think about the Gen Xers? Do you put us with the boomers or we have a distinct vibe?
I haven't thought about Gen Xers
No?
too much. No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Boomers, the way I think of boomers, like you guys got easy houses.
Yeah, that's my parents. They got,
Yeah.
you know, big house, only one working person in the
Yeah.
family. It's like, wow.
It's like the boomers like, why don't you just buy a house? It's like, well, why do you want me to
If
just
it's
buy a
that
house?
easy,
So
why don't you buy me one?
yeah.
I've
I'm like,
never owned a house. I've never owned a car. I mean, I have a bicycle. I've
oh,
had
nice.
many, many bicycles, but they keep getting stolen. But so it sounds very interesting. this whole dating thing and the technology, and we don't have to dwell on this. I've just been doing some follow-up questions because it is so interesting. But I guess we can sort of change gears a little bit now, if you don't mind, and talk about metaphysics. Have you studied philosophy at all, like as a hobby, or do you know anything about first principles of philosophy at all?
I know of it. I haven't
You haven't studied
delved
it.
into, yeah. So I
What
like
did you
to
study at university?
business and psychology. Most of my
Oh,
most of my learning was done after university, to be honest. Though,
okay, okay.
so after university is when I started reading everything I could, just talking to as many interesting people as I could, absorbing as much knowledge as I could.
Okay. And the psychology angle, do you see it as a very pragmatic science, or do you see it more connected with the mystery of spirituality, or somewhere in between, or mix of the two?
They're trying to make it more scientific, but I think at its core, it's more of a spiritual thing.
Okay. And who is there a camp you belong to, or a school of thought that you belong to, the Jungian school, or Freud, or or
No, no, not so
Jordan
much.
Peterson?
Not so much Freud. I used to listen to a bunch of Jordan Peterson back in the day. I mean, I agree with some things, I disagree with some things. I don't know. Like now, I'm kind of gearing towards Carl Jung and his like work on like shadow integration because I think he has a more spiritual mindset around it.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And so I always ask my guests who are monists, and I think you're a monist, but we're going to find out as we speak. I'm a monotheist. I believe that, God is God and that I'm a creature of God. I'm not God. But the monists, those of the East, Hindus, Buddhists, and so on, and those in the West, the what I call the New Age, they believe there's only the one reality, and the separation that is apparent here between me and you, that separation and that separation from God is merely an illusion. It's Maya. So that's monism. There's only the one reality. It's God. So are you more comfortable in the monist camp or in the monotheist camp, where you feel like you're a creature of God, really separate from God?
I don't feel like I'm separate from God. I think we're all an extension of God, whether that's right or wrong. Who knows? I think there's an infinite number of realities, and we're just this is the one that's just existing because it's the one we're putting our attention on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, uh, interesting. So that's very postmodern view. Like it's like that's the way a lot of natural scientists are going. Actually, sadly, I don't. I frown on that sort of that sort of cop out. Just saying infinite worlds and multiverse and all that sort of thing. No offense to you, but
Oh no, none taken.
I studied physics. And there were competing philosophies. In when it comes to what they call the new science, they're competing philosophies, interpretations. But I've always been a little bit more conservative, I guess, when it comes to the interpretations of the data of science. So yeah, when it comes to your metaphysics, as I like to call it, you are firmly in the monist camp. And so my follow-up question there is predictable. If those people that are watching have seen my other episodes, I always ask this exact same questions. I ask about morality, I ask about hell, and I ask about reincarnation. Do you believe in reincarnation? So, what do you think about what is the basis of morality, and is it possible to be eternally separate from your source? If you are like a divine spark or whatever you want to say, is it possible to end up eternally separate, or are you inevitably going to go back? And then, if you want to also answer the question about reincarnation, do you believe that it's an endless cycle of lives?
So in terms of the first question, I think you do good. I think you're eventually go. I think as a soul, you're sent down to the physical world to learn a specific lesson. How many lifetimes you takes to learn that lesson, it's however lifetimes you take. So the goal is eventually to join back with the creator. So you learn your lessons, you do good in the world, you add positivity, you eventually ascend, or you join, you do bad things, you eventually descend. So you can come reincarnate as like an animal or a person, but eventually you want to join where you came from.
Yeah, but is it inevitable that all of these fragments of God will get reunited with God, or can some of the fragments get stuck as a carrot or whatever?
I mean, long enough time, I think it's inevitable. I think we'll return to the source eventually. but that's like over a very extended, like infinite amount of time.
Okay. So if it's infinite, it's not going to happen, right? Because it's like there's the thing about space-time is that it's finite, and it's we can't have an actual infinity in space-time. We can have an actual, we can have a theoretical infinity, like we could have an infinite number line, but the thing about creation and matter and it's that it's temporal, and that you can't have any effect today if there's an infinite chain of cause and effect behind you, right? Because you'll just never get here. These are the common proofs of God from an a priori standpoint. There are also a posteriori proofs of the existence of God, but they all rule out the infinite time behind us.
Oh,
So what do you have to say about that?
oh, that's an interesting take. We'll see. I view time more as a spiral than a just a loop going forward. So I think everything repeats itself and eventually spirals up. So we come back, we learn our lessons, and eventually we ascend.
Spiral, yeah, I think it was Nietzsche who talked about that, the eternal return, and
Oh, did he?
he got it from the Stoics, talking about this circle and how it just continues infinitely. So to me, that doesn't sound too appealing personally. No offense, but to be stuck in this cycle, of heaven, hell, heaven, hell, heaven, hell, heaven, hell, because that's basically what it boils down to, right? If you stand back and look at sort of the God's eye view of all these divine sparks going up and down and up and down and up and down, that's basically what it is, right?
I wouldn't say it's up and down. It's more just down, then up slowly with small hiccups.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but what you just said is it goes down and up. So, and then it's going to go down again, right?
No, so like it's down, up, down a little bit, up, down a little bit, up. So, and I wouldn't even call it a personal hell. Like, how would you consider something you chose to do a hell if you chose to do it?
Yeah, well, that's a question. Did you choose to do it? We could talk to, there's a child dying of hunger every 10 seconds. So go ask the child and their family if they chose this. I don't think they're going to be too happy, with your smug Western position of privilege. Not to be, not to sound like a libtard, but, it's like, it's real. Like the suffering is real. Like war is real. It's hell. It's a hell. It's not actual hell. It's sort of like a little mini purgatory. But it's hellish. Let's just put it that way. I mean, there's a lot of dark stuff. You can't just say that people chose it. I mean, that's very callous, don't you think?
No.
It's not.
Why?
Have you
Why?
ever encountered any real suffering?
Maybe.
I have to give a shout out to my friend Canadian Anglican. He's in the live chat too. So yeah, I'm not trying to browbeat you here. I'm just playing with ideas. It's the same ideas that always come up when I want to ask you if you're familiar with the New Age movement, because I was in the New Age movement before I became a monotheist. So are you familiar with the movement? You read a lot of the books?
No, I've never actually heard of it, but I would love to learn more.
Ah, okay. Have you heard about New Thought?
No,
No?
never.
Okay, okay.
What's new thought?
The idea is that we are spirit. Our soul is our higher self is the divine, and that we can manifest. You've heard of this book called The Secret, and you can, you know, manifest what you want just by positive thoughts and these sorts of things, affirmations. I mean, I'm grossly oversimplifying, but that's the basic idea of new thought. Like it's our thoughts influence our reality, and they try to smuggle in all the woo-woo stuff from quantum physics. That our observation affects the quantum realm, these sorts of things. They try to use that to say that our minds are powerful for changing reality, and they are. It's true. There's a certain amount of truth to it, but they take it a little bit too far by saying that you basically can be healthy, wealthy, and wise just by wanting to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, and that's not the way it works, right?
Well, to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, you need to want to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, but you also have to take some action. Yeah, you can't just sit in the room and it's like, I'm gonna be rich, I'm gonna be rich, I'm gonna be rich, I'm gonna be healthy, I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna be healthy, I'm gonna be healthy. That just simply doesn't work. So but to be, yeah, the thought has to be there, because everything in the physical world, like every invention, everything has started as a thought, but then people took action and applied action. And then from there, like let's say I want to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. If let's say I want to make $1 million, let's say that's the goal. I'm going to make $1 million. I put the intention out in the world. I'm going to make $1 million. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to make, if that's a strong enough anchor in the future, I'm going to figure out how to get there. This, like, the path will reveal itself once the student is ready. So to make that $1 million, you have to have a strong intention. You have to keep it, and that creates a magnet. So whatever alternate realities would happen, like 1,999, 1,0, 1,2 million, they kind of collapse into the $1 million one. What
Uh-huh.
do you think of that? Do you disagree? Agree?
Well, I believe that, I believe that it's very important, what we think about and what our intentions are. And we have, what I believe as a Christian is that we're created in the image and likeness of God. And part of that is that we have free will and reason. And, what I wanted to emphasize with you in this part of the conversation is the battle of the wills. Like, I don't know if you've ever had a battle with someone where you want one thing and they want another, or they want the same thing that you want, and there's a battle of wills that often takes place. And to cite an example from the Bible, Jesus said that whatever you pray for, you're going to get, if you believe that you're going to get it. So that's sort of some overlap with this New Thought movement. But the very important difference is that from a Christian perspective, a monotheist perspective, God's will is always done, and our will is, very often selfish and self-centered. And so the key to happiness, the key to success, which isn't necessarily, pleasure and money and fame here,
Which it isn't.
right? The key to happiness, the key to lasting happiness, is to die to self and to live unto Christ, or to put it in more general monotheist terms, to submit your will to the will of God. So if you talk to a Jew or a Muslim, they will agree with me. We have to submit to God's will. We have to try to find out what is God's will in my life, and to do that. And even though it's difficult, and often it is difficult. And so I'm not saying that I'm a good Christian, and that I'm practicing this in a way that would be impressive. I'm just saying that's the goal. That is the goal as a Christian. And then compare and contrast that with your way of looking at it and the New Age way of looking at it, which is basically, I think, a little bit naive, because it sort of assumes that a path will open up for you and there won't be opposition to that path, right? Or that you'll overcome the opposition. But in overcoming the opposition, you're overcoming someone else's will, right? So that's the problem. Whereas with the monotheistic approach, it's like we are all at the bottom of the pyramid. We're all trying to submit to God, who alone is good. So you might have good intentions, you might have good, ideas and love in your heart and all these sorts of things, and compassion and mercy and justice and all these principles, but you don't have them perfectly. Only God has them perfectly. That's why I'm not too interested in your will. I'm more interested in God's will. So what do you have to say about all that?
So I think everyone is happiest when they're serving other people. And I think God, or the creator, whomever, bestows individual gifts on each individual person. And I think, how do we best serve other people? We utilize the gifts that God gives us to manifest companies, projects, content, whatever, to best serve the collective. The reason, and this results in people being authentic. So if I'm being my authentic self, I'm the best in the world at being Eric Mchugh. You can't beat me, and this has resulted in companies that cause positive benefits. But at the same time, David, God has made you the best David Ross in the world. I can't beat you at being you. So the best thing you could do to please God's will, I guess, is to serve other people by using the gifts that He gave you to serve other people.
Yeah, I do agree with you. A couple more people joined the live chat. I want to give a shout out to New Gloff. I think I mentioned all the others, but yeah, it's a tricky question. Altruism, selflessness, and Saint Augustine's one of my favorite saints. He said that there are two cities he wrote this in a book called The City of God, by the way. You might want to read it. It's fun. It's
Ooh,
a
okay.
fun read. It's a fun read from the
Yeah.
5th century, 4th or 5th century. But The City of God, he says there are two cities characterized by two loves, love of self unto contempt of God, or love of God unto contempt of self. So that's basically, my religion in a nutshell, because I'm fighting every day against my lower inclinations, my passions, my appetites, these sorts of things. So I'd like you to respond to that, and I'd also like to touch on the topic of pornography, because you are in the business of matchmaking. It's not directly connected, but on the internet there's a lot of pornography. I'd like to get
I,
your thoughts on that.
I don't watch porn. I think it's a devil. It's a portal for the devil of lust. I think it ruins the sexes. I think it sexualizes women. I think it's just terrible. I think it's been introduced to the population by design to keep people stuck in their lower nature.
Oh,
So porn is just not something I touch.
good, good.
Yeah,
God bless you for
yeah,
that. I hope
yeah.
I'm cheering for you to keep your big business growing strong, because you'll be a force against that, just by the very fact that you're against
Oh
it
yeah,
in principle. So
porn
yeah,
is it's disgusting. Yeah,
it's
it's just
disgusting. And in your generation, I mean,
it's been
what's
most people watch it. Most people are addicted to it.
oh,
It's a habit. Like it's
it's
been
a
drilled
vice.
on for young. So like for me, like the younger generation, it's not natural too. Like think about it this way, like someone like right now, I could have access to the amount of women that more than a king could have, and it's not even real too, because like because I view sex as a sacred thing. I think like when you have sex with someone, there's a connection between you that's being formed, and that's by design. So that's why it's good if two people are virgins and they marry. That's the highest chance for success, for family, for procreation.
Yeah,
But when you are, and you probably wouldn't agree with the terminology, but I think you may agree with the concept. It's like when you have sex with someone, you form a soul tie with them. They're connected with them. But with pornography, you're forming all these soul ties with all these random, just like I guess people who lost their way. It's just now.
yeah. Just so you know, in case you don't remember from your Christian days, we say that you are one flesh. When you do the marriage act, if you do it outside of marriage, that's even worse, because you're now united. You talked about, what was the term you used for it? The soul tie?
Soul tie, yeah,
Soul tie.
yeah,
Um, sounds like a spicy dish, soul tie. But anyway,
yeah,
um,
yeah, kind of actually.
so just a funny little anecdote. I was at work the other day, and I always make soup for lunch, and I put peanut butter in my soup and I heat it in the microwave.
Hmm.
So my secretary is like, "Are you heating up peanut butter in the microwave? What's going on?" Like, it just smelled like peanut butter.
Huh.
But it's very tasty. It's very tasty. If you haven't tried it, I mentioned this
Well,
because the Thai food, they use peanuts in that.
okay. Yeah, that would be
Have
good.
you
What
tried
kind of
that?
soup? No, but what kind of soup do you, what kind of soup do you put the peanut butter
It's
in?
like
I try.
egg. It's like egg noodles
Oh, okay.
with
Yeah,
little
dude,
green peas.
Thais they do a really good peanut butter sauce. So like if
Uh,
it's similar tasting, I would definitely take you up on that.
I
Thank
put
you.
soy sauce, and yeah, it's very good. It's very simple, very good. Like, I mean, I eat it every day. I've started adding eggs to it now, which is a little bit
Uh,
weird, because
no, that's good. Like
uh,
if you add eggs to ramen noodles, it makes it taste way better.
it's pretty cool. Um, so just to change topics a little bit, what's your travel experience like worldwide?
Yeah, mostly U.S. I visited Asia, been to the Philippines a couple times just
Oh
because
yeah,
that's where I'm from.
uh-huh.
I did Europe when I was in middle school, so
Middle
and
school.
I
Huh?
interned in Spain in college, so I saw a couple countries there.
Oh, okay. And
So
so,
nothing too crazy, but
yeah.
not non-zero.
In terms of languages, did you dabble with picking up any languages at all?
No, I just struggled to survive in Spain. Where it's like I would try to speak, I would speak broken Spanish, versus like just so I'm like not rude and just like
uh,
an American just speaking American. But like I was like, yeah, I tried, but didn't really work. When I was younger, my mom tried to push Tagalog on me, but it didn't stick.
oh, how do you say the name of the language?
Tagalog.
Oh, okay. I actually know a little bit.
Oh, really? You probably know
Yeah,
me.
it's ang aking maso kinakaya nga ipainga ko na ayos pa.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Do you
What
know?
would you say?
Do you know
No,
what
no.
it's?
What'd
It's
you?
just talking about how my shoulder hurts, because I used to work with this Filipino lady like 30 years ago, and I was complaining about my shoulder. It's funny because my shoulder hurts right now, but and I just said, how do I say that in Filipino? And she rattled on this long sentence, and I mangled it now. I didn't say it quite right, But and so I got her to teach it to me, and I've sort of had it floating around in my head ever since. But
Just, I mean, that shows you're highly intelligent. That if you learned it then, you still know it now. You're just able to bang it off. So, dude, that's awesome.
my memory is one of my weaker points. I saw in your bio. I tried not to read your bio because I don't want to discover too much about my guest. But I saw that you have a 140 IQ. Is that true?
Yeah, I think it's stupid. In the past VC, like we had to take a IQ test that was funded by the VC to kind of get funding. So that kind of slipped
VC.
out. Venture capital.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was at a past startup. So like we were at an incubator, which is basically startup schools, and they hand you a bunch of tests, like to kind of give you points for investors.
Oh, really? Cool. So that's
I think
standard.
I no, it's a specific one, but to be honest, I don't hold very much weight in
Uh,
IQ. I hold more weight in emotional intelligence.
uh-huh.
So there's
And
that.
is there a scale for that?
Probably haven't looked into it.
Yeah. Well,
You, you either got it or you don't.
well, one thing I notice about you is you're very soft. Your energy is soft. Okay, it's not edgy. It's not harsh. You're polite. You're nice. You're attentive. You're considerate. So I guess I'm basically saying you're a nice guy.
Well, thank you. I
In
mean,
case
cool.
you didn't, in case you didn't already know that,
Well, no, honestly, I really appreciate it.
what do
Thank you
people
so
say
much.
about you?
Different people say different things.
Uh,
Yeah. I generally like to be like water, and I can adapt to most situations. So if I want to be an aggressive dickhead, I can. But if I want to be nice, polite, I can. Honestly, I generally like to be quiet and keep to myself.
you're more introvert, you would say. Is that a legitimate thing? Introvert, extrovert, is that legit psychologically?
Yeah, no, it's a legit thing. I mean, and
Okay.
I would say I'm definitely more introverted.
Okay. And I saw that you like fighting. Is that mixed martial arts, Muay Thai? What was it?
So I train Muay Thai casually. For
Okay.
me, it's more of just it's an anchor for me. So like it keeps me on track during the day. So if I train, like let's say Monday to Thursday, I train at 6. It keeps me on point. It keeps me eating healthily. It keeps me present. Because if I don't eat healthy, I get hit. If I'm not present, I get hit. Plus, it's a really good group of people to be around, in my opinion. Where like
Uh-huh.
it's you don't talk about work at all. You're just there. Everyone's just trying to get each other better. It's a hell of a workout too. Like
Yeah.
it's something where it's like like you keep your brain fresh by improving with something
Yeah.
that you're just never going to get master. So like it's just constant improvement for me.
Yeah. Well, I do Rubik's Cube for fun. I'm not very good at it, but it's I'd like chess too. I'm not very good at that either, but
Well, chess is super fun.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Win or lose, win, lose or
yeah. Like,
draw. I love it. I love it.
what I did is I replaced mindless social media scrolling with chess.com. So I put chess.com because for my companies I do need to do some social media stuff. But it is what it is. But I prefer not to be on social media. So I put chess.com right next to Instagram or right next to Twitter. It's right in between. So whenever, because I've been trained to go on social media from a young age. So whenever I have the urge to get some dopamine from Instagram, it's like, okay, well I'm at the app. Let's break out a couple lightning games of chess, and I just find it much more productive. Yeah,
Exciting. It's exciting. Yeah.
yeah.
So you can play the lightning speed ones, like the fast.
I usually do 3-minute games.
Okay. Three
Yeah,
minutes.
I'm not
That's
sure
not too
with
bad.
that.
That's not too bad. Three
Yeah,
minutes. Yeah. I don't
yeah.
like the really long ones because
No,
I'm very impulsive. I'm very impulsive with chess.
I can't do the 10 ones anymore. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, go, go, go. I started
Yeah.
off with the 10 ones, but I'm just like, no, thank you anymore.
Do you know what your rating is roughly? ELO?
So it varies. So for the 5-minute ones, so right now it's 800. For the 5-minute ones, I was around like 1,100.
Okay.
But I'm very streaky, so I always try new things, and sometimes I just lose like 20 games in a row, but sometimes I win like 20 games
What's
in a
your
row.
favorite opening?
I just Ponte E4.
Okay.
Yeah, just a
I,
classic.
I like the Rui Lopez, which is E4 opening. Do you know the
Yes,
Rui Lopez, the Spanish opening?
so I know a lot of. I'm very bad with remembering the names of things, but
Yeah.
I'm good at remembering what it actually is.
What it looks like when you're
Yeah,
faced
like when
with
I
it.
see it, just because I'm used, and that applies off the board, or like for most things. It's like I remember how to do something, but I just don't know what to call it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like everything, basically everything king side because it's more open game. I don't like the queen side openings just because it's
Yeah, I don't like the crapness either. I want the open
Cramped.
field. Yeah.
Yeah. I learned, I learned chess, I don't know when, maybe high school or university, but I was trying to calculate and I just realized that it's beyond me to calculate. So I learned just a handful of principles from a book that I picked up,
That makes sense.
control the center and develop your pieces and these sorts of things.
Yeah.
And it just suddenly, the pressure was gone to do all the calculations of these threads. And I could just think about the principles and it really freed me up and I enjoyed the game more and I had more success. And I'm not good, but it's the same thing with life and religion, spirituality. It's not so much about a whole bunch of book knowledge. It's more about having principles, knowing what your principles are, and are they well founded, well grounded principles. So maybe we could talk about that aspect of your spiritual life. How did you come to discover just a handful of principles, and what would you say those principles are?
Yeah, so it was a learning process for me. So how it started was getting into Bitcoin. That was kind of a red pill moment where it's like, oh, I'm going to read as much as I can. Things may not be presented, like the norm may not be healthy or conducive for people. People in government may be corrupt. From there, that led me down the entrepreneurship journey because when I discovered Bitcoin, I was in the 9 to 5 job, but that Bitcoin didn't align with the 9 to 5 I was working, which was a bankruptcy consultant. I quit that. And I'm like, okay, what do I do next? I'm going to work in Web3. I started going to cryptocurrency meetups to meet the original SHOPX team. We launched a side startup called Cardriv, and that was where it was VC funded. We worked out of an incubator. So at that point in time, I was very fortunate in the sense I was surrounded by a bunch of like founders and CEOs at just a young age. So obviously I was getting lunch. I was trying to absorb as much knowledge as I could from them. And I think that probably planted the seed in terms of spirituality for me at the time, meaning like some of the most successful people I would get lunch with, they're like, what are you doing? I'm going on a walk at like 2. Oh, how do you have time to go on a walk? I just go on a walk. Oh, what do? You meditate, you start the day. What are some books you recommend? They recommended some spiritual books. At the time, I obviously ignored it because I'm just like, I need to work 12 hours a day. But looking back, it always circled back where it's like, okay, maybe he recommended this book the first time, 2 other people recommended it. Then I started learning that. What really kicked open my spirituality journey, I guess, was the 10-day meditation retreat. It's just full 10 days, complete silence.
Vipassana, you said.
Yeah, just complete introspection.
Uh-huh.
So I thought that was cool. So in terms of principles, I believe everyone is a conscious creator, whether you know it or not. But I think if you follow the 2 rules of don't harm anyone and don't take anything away from anyone, you're good to go. I think of wealth. I think in terms of money. I think of money as all technology. It's just a neutral thing. There are good ways to make money. There are bad ways to make money. If you want to make a lot of money, provide a lot of value for people, good on you. But just don't take from other people. I believe what you get is what you receive. So if you're putting out the frequency of kindness, love, happiness, acceptance, then you'll encounter a lot of people on that frequency of just, if like you're happy all the time, you're going to encounter happy people. If you're loving all the time, you're going to encounter loving people. So I think it pays dividends to yourself and those around you to be in a positive mindset. Same thing, it pays negative dividends of just like if you're angry all the time, you're going to attract angry people. If you think people are out to get you, people are out to get you. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. In your generation, this is sort of a random question, but I want to ask you because you're a bit younger. A lot of my guests are sort of like 40s and 50s and older actually. Um, but I just want to sort of figure out what your generation is about. I mean, you're 30. That's kind of like it's not exactly really young. It's not really old. I guess that's like the perfect age. They say that Christ died at 33. That's like the perfect age. So you're kind of at that sweet spot, I guess, in life. Um, but I just want to focus on music. Like, what kind of music do you listen to and people of your generation listen to? Because people in my generation, they like music from the 80s, that's sort of like a big one. And I like the 70s music. Not a lot of people like that today, but a lot of people like the 90s music and grunge and stuff like that. And then after the 90s, I don't know what's happening with music. It seems just like
I
random. There's
don't.
a lot of good stuff, but what do you guys listen to?
So I don't really listen to music, especially of
Oh,
this generation
oh
music.
yeah.
I think it's all programming. So if you go down the
Uh,
lyrics of any of the popular song and just
uh,
read it, you're just programming yourself to. I think a lot of the music.
sex.
I think a lot of the music is actually run by Satanists. So I'm gonna avoid that as
Okay.
much as possible.
Uh-huh.
when I do listen to music, it's more for a different purpose. So I personally just like to listen to binaural beats if I'm doing anything. If I want
Oh,
to, and then going back to the vibrational thing, I think classical music and old school rock has a high vibe for me.
okay.
So like I couldn't name any of the people I listen to, just
Yeah.
call Pandora classical rock, or like ACD or something. I like that.
Okay.
If I'm at the gym, I'm a big fan of anime, so I like anime theme songs. They're
Oh,
all
okay.
upbeat. They're all upbeat. It's like I'm just picturing myself on like a little adventure type of thing.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
yeah, so like I'm very conscious of the type of content I consume, because just like your food diet, like you eat food A, you feel bad, you eat food B, you feel good, that's there. The amounts of thoughts you consume, the amount the
Mm,
thought diet is just as important,
mm,
which is why I try to avoid social media as much as possible. Because if you log on Twitter, you're just like, Jesus Christ, this is a negativity. Just ugh. Where if I read good books, listen to
yeah.
good content, listen to people who are happy, I find my just life is better.
Yeah. Yeah. Do people your age use YouTube, or is that a thing of the past?
The problem is I still use YouTube, but most people's attention spans are too short, so they focus on the short form content.
Oh,
Yeah. So like
oh,
I my age is the cusp, but like the younger
huh.
generation, anything above 30 seconds doesn't really get pushed, and
Really?
I think it's by design too. Yeah. So like
Wow.
TikTok, Instagram Reels, though, that's what's firing off. So you also have to be really careful about what you're doing with those, because again, you're programming your mind with a lot of times of. I challenge like anyone on TikTok Reels or Instagram, just like be conscious of when you're just doing it. Don't mindlessly scroll. It's like, did this add any value to my life? More often for me, it was just like, I realized I was like, no, that's when I did the chess.com thing. So like a lot of times you're being programmed and this goes back to our porn conversation. So you're being programmed to be sexualized. So like I can be on my reels and there can be like they throw in random
Yeah.
provocative images
Yeah.
to open that portal to lust, to get you going down that rabbit hole. And eventually you end up like, so yeah, it's all, I think of it as like a sales funnel, and I think it's by design.
This is a very delicate question, but I talk about it a lot. Masturbation, like I'm against it. I think it's demonic. Some Christians don't think it's demonic, and they think it's healthy to do it, but we're not allowed to in the Catholic Church, and I think it's demonic. For you, I mean, you were raised Catholic, but I mean, now you're a monist or whatever. So what's the deal with masturbation? Without going into too much detail, it would be embarrassing or whatever. But what's the deal?
I don't masturbate. I don't watch porn. I believe
Okay,
in semen retention. It's
okay,
also from a pragmatic perspective. If I keep
okay.
my seed, I think it's a valuable source of energy, and I can
Uh-huh.
transmute that into a lot of good for the world. So even if I didn't believe in the religion, I do think it's demonic. But even if I didn't believe in that,
Uh,
the value I get from retaining, it's insane. Like my body, like in terms of biology, like my testosterone's super high. Everything just kind of works my way. I like even with ladies too. Like you can find a good wife if you're depleted the whole time, because they can smell that out. The pheromones they work. Yeah, yeah. So
that's
like if I
cool.
if what dream happens, what dream happens. Like
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? And that goes back to the porn. That goes back to the porn. So like if I'm scrolling Instagram,
Uh-huh.
if I'm going in, like if I'm scrolling, because obviously I don't do porn because it's the worst, but also it messes with your brain so much.
Yeah.
Like it's too much dopamine just blasting it over and over again. But like let's say I'm on Instagram, I scroll that, like even I try to curate my feed, but I find there's always just like provocative stuff just going in there. And the more I try to curate my feed, the more provocative stuff just goes in there somehow. The more I try to avoid it, the more probably the
Mm.
devil is just showing it there,
Yeah.
and that would lead to a wet dream. So I'm just like, all right, now before I sleep, I meditate or I read. Well,
Nice.
I try, yeah,
Very nice. So you're probably not typical of your generation, right? In that one.
absolutely, absolutely not. Most of our generation kind of moves into degeneracy, but I think it's getting better too. So like,
Okay.
yeah, I think I have faith for the future that enough people will, I guess, rise in consciousness, but it's gonna be a process.
I heard about the no-fap movement, and I heard about there's another thing.
It's
I
it's
forget.
very niche. The
Okay.
no fab movement is really niche, but
Oh,
more.
the other one is incel movement, like Nick Fuentes and the alt-right and that sort of thing. Have you heard about the incel, involuntarily celibate? Have you heard about that?
I know what they are. I get where they're coming from. Where they're coming from is the dating market is so skewed. Modern women aren't traditional women, so they're not exactly wise right now. So
Okay.
they're checking out. But me
Okay.
personally, I want to have a wife. How do I obtain a good wife? I just have to be a good person.
Okay.
And to attract a good wife, I just have to increase my own value, and eventually the wife will come. But if she doesn't, it's like, eh. But like it's something I'm gonna get.
Would you be attracted to a Filipino woman or no?
Yeah, that would yeah, I'd be attracted to a
Would
Filipino
that
woman.
be a better option for you, or you're open to whatever?
I'm open to other. If I'm being pragmatic, me going to the Philippines, I'm treated like a movie star, which is really sweet. So,
Oh yeah?
like, yeah, like when I went there as a kid. Plus, I have like the two, like I have status, like status is stupid, but I have that too. So, like, if I did want to find a Catholic wife or just like
Uh,
a good virtuous woman, the Philippines is a pretty sweet bet for me. Just because I have family over there too, and I can just kind of pick one. No, I don't want to word it like that, but like, yeah,
oh,
I can pick whatever from there.
oh,
Whereas
oh.
like in America, it's more difficult. It is what it is. Life is life.
Yeah. It's kind of silly and embarrassing, but I watch a lot of Survivor, like Survivor, the reality show, and
That's a good show.
The American one is so horrible because it's so woke with all the identity
But
politics. You know?
they added identity politics to
Yeah.
Survivor.
Oh
How?
yeah.
It's a
Oh
Survivor
yeah.
show.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
why would they do that?
It's just because it corrupts everything in the West. But
God,
In
it's a virus.
Australia, Survivor is really good because the contestants are real people. They have some edge, some personality. You know, they're not just complaining with a chip on the shoulder. Oh, I'm black. Oh, I'm transgender. Oh, I'm a woman or whatever, woman of color. You know, it's like that's fine. You could be a woman of transgender, woman of color, whatever. But and I'm not for the transgender stuff. But you
No.
know, whatever. You know, I love and respect you, whatever journey you're on. But does that have to be what you lead with? Is that your person? Is that a personality replacement? Does that
Are you that
replace?
boring? Do you not have anything else? Did I ask?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put people down, but this whole identity
No,
politics thing
it's like I don't ask. I don't care. Yeah, like yeah, it's okay. It's making me trouble. But like
you
I have
see
a
that
theory. Oh,
because
it's so annoying.
you're in the
It's just
States, right?
yeah, like, it's excessive and it's being pushed too.
Yeah.
So like I have a theory. Like it's like God, this may not be great to say, but if I were the devil, what would a good plan be to corrupt all of society? I think the states are run by satanic pedophiles. Like all elites in Hollywood, it's disgusting, but yeah. So I think the end goal is to normalize pedophilia, which they are starting. So the way to do that would be to push the gay movement, lump the gay movement with the transgender movement and make that normal, and then eventually transition to pedophilia being okay, which in my mind is absolutely not okay. Just in case I want to be very
Yeah,
clear
yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, like I don't want
yeah,
anything to be misconstrued.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I could see them doing that. Like if you're gonna be trans, fine. If you're gonna be gay, fine. But don't like just because if you notice how much they're shoving it to everyone's face, you're just like, Jesus Christ. Doritos, why are they hiring a transgender? Why is Pride Month just like me and my friends were joking, it's like you can't hide from the gay. I have some gay friends that are just like, this is ridiculous.
It's being pushed. It's being shoved down our throats.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really weird. You know, I see it as a destruction of the family too, an attack on the family. That's the main thing.
It's all attack on the family and going back to porn being the devil's work.
Yeah.
They're gonna slowly start introducing
Kinky stuff.
um trans stuff.
Uh,
So
uh-huh.
in people's suggested feeds, they're gonna start slowly dripping. So
Uh-huh.
that's why I heard they're planning to do it. They're gonna
Yeah.
slowly drip in. And as a kid, like imagine you're 10, you don't know what the difference is. You click on a video. Because like me growing up, I didn't even know what trans was. I was happy. I was chilling. But like imagine like you're 11, you're on like one of the websites and you're just next to videos and you just accidentally click on trans. Well, now you know what it is. And then you hear in the media it's an attack on all fronts to destroy the family. Because if with no it's an attack on the man first. Because the man, it goes God, man, wife, kid in my order. If they get rid of the man, the women are more susceptible
Vulnerable.
to, yeah, like Satan can take advantage of them. The government can take advantage of them. So they're trying to get rid of the man. They're attacking the man.
Yeah, there's that whole men's movement that's been going around on the internet for a while now. I kind of tried to ignore it, but because there are a lot of sort of macho men that are sort of making money grifting with that
Oh,
men's rights movement.
yeah, I know. I think I know exactly who you guys are talking about. Like Andrew Tate, that
Yeah,
crew.
that
I
kind
mean,
of thing.
there is some basis into it, but at the same time, you can counter that by just being like a great husband, a great wife, and find yourself a virtuous woman, and you should be good. But that being said, there are less of those in the world, and it is harder to find. And it is by design, just because imagine this: you're a 10-year-old girl, fatherhood has been attacked. Who are your influences? Mother, government, social media, and your friends. So, and TikTok, which, like I just mentioned, is just most of it is just straight garbage.
Absolutely. So I got to wrap it up here, but it's been a pleasure meeting you. I hope you come back and chat some more sometime in the future. I'm going to take the summer off, but maybe in the fall you can come back. We'll chat some more about what you're up
That'd be
to,
fun.
and you will have launched by that time, right? Officially
Hopefully, yeah, we will
with your
definitely
thing,
have a lunch.
hopefully. But usually at the end, I like to let the guests have the final word. Just say something positive, something hopeful for the listener. So what would you say?
Oh, I mean, you got this. The universe, God, he always has your back. So if you're in trouble, just pray because everything's going to work out in your favor. And I'm wishing you all nothing but peace, love, and happiness. And yeah, if there's anything I can do to support you in your journeys, I feel free to reach out anytime.
Nice.
And honestly, David, thank you really for having me. It was fun just because this isn't a topic this is one of the first times I've had to discuss this online. And
Oh yeah.
you're an intelligent guy.
Thank you.
I think we agree on a
A lot
bunch
of
of
stuff. Yeah.
a bunch of the core stuff. Maybe
Yeah.
not some stuff, but
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff. We're just I think we're on
It's
the
a
same
lot of
page.
fun. It's a lot of fun meeting you. You're a unique character, and appreciate you. I put shopx.co. That's your main website you like people to go to?
Yeah,
That's
a
in
good
the
one.
show notes there. So yeah, real pleasure meeting you. And yeah, I would appreciate it if you would pray for me and mine. And
I
I'm
will.
praying for you and yours. And I enroll each and every one of my guests in a perpetual mass. So you're getting the prayers of the mass every day
Oh,
for you and your
thank you.
family. Okay. And
Oh,
that includes your future wife or wives and any children you have and any parents living or dead. Okay.
thank you so
And your
much. Yeah.
siblings. And your siblings.
And just I may not agree with this, but I close my meditation. The way I close a meditation is I store all the energy in my head, and I wish everyone peace, love, and happiness. So I'll think of you, your family, and your guests when I do that likewise. So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah. I appreciate that. I appreciate the prayers or good thoughts of anyone, because like I said earlier, it's very important, that we are aligned toward the light. And
correct.
I think you believe in the same God that I do. So we may be on different paths now, but I think we're trying to orient ourselves.
We're on the same team, I think.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Good versus evil.
correct. We need to win. We'll win this one.
Yes, yes. So God bless you, and it was a pleasure chatting with you, my friend.
Well, thank you so much.
Keep
Truly
in touch.
grateful.
We'll talk soon.
Of course.
Good luck with everything.
You too.
Bye bye.
Later.